I've been playing Siege for a long time. I've been playing since the open beta when I was in college, and a lot of my friends were really into it, and most of those IRL friends tended to kind of drift off and play other games because to them it got kind of boring. But I started making money off of it, so I stuck with it. But the point at which I started making money was way after the first Invitational, which is like the Siege Super Bowl. And so Continuum, which eventually became Evil Geniuses, was kind of the top dog because they won the last one. I didn't understand the significance of an NA team being really good at a PC FPS game, but more on how that makes no sense later. And when I went to the second Siege Invitational a while back, it was a complete and total culture shock for me because I sincerely did not know the least bit about esports. Like, the terminology was just really the word esport, which is really strange to consider moving a mouse really fast a sport. I thought it was cool, the venue's cool, there's clearly a lot of money involved, but it was a relatively small Cirque du Soleil arena, right? Like, it wasn't Camden Yards. So a lot of the people I ran into were talking about the guy from this team and the dude from that team, and how this team put up a really good fight against this team, and how this team was really good at moving their mouse across their mouse pad, probably better than the other team that was also really good at moving their mouse across their mouse pad. And for those who don't know, who are completely lost, basically this was when the meme of Evil Geniuses choking came up. This is where the reign of G2, who back then was Penta, and now there's a Penta roster. I'm adopting a sarcastic tone because, like, I don't know if this is just me, but this is the kind of shit that makes it really hard to explain this to other people. Continuum becomes Evil Geniuses. Okay, you know, the Spos became the Nationals, whatever. Penta becomes G2, and then there's another Penta that's not the same people. Huh? Let's imagine the New York Yankees become the New England McSpankies, and then another New York Yankees is formed, but it's completely different than the first one. But it doesn't have Aaron Judge, or Gary Sanchez, or CC Sabathia. Okay. Anyway, EG choked, and then they choked against FaZe, and then they choked against Empire, which personally I thought was hilarious because it was literally like America versus Russia Cold War matchup. Oh, but it has Canadian on it, so it's not completely American. Okay, let's break that down a little bit in a sec, okay? A lot of people were really mad on Twitter, and of course you all know that Twitter is real life, and I saw all of these comments by people who are much older than me, by the way, who were really upset about the fact that the group of 20-somethings who were good at video game couldn't beat the other group of 20-somethings who were also good at video game. And somebody was like, man, it really sucks for the region, you know, like NA can do better. And I was like, sure, I guess they can. So if you got this far to the video, you're probably thinking, man, this dude sounds like old man yells at cloud. What the f*** are you talking about? But bear with me. Something I've noticed in this community is the tendency to root for the region. Like, whoever is top dog for the region, if I'm from the continent of North America, then hey, I gotta root for which other team is from North America because they're going against the other team from not North America. Even though this team from North America might have beaten my team. I tried to like cram this idea in my brain. It doesn't work. And you see it in chat for games all the time where the memes come in like, oh, NA can't aim, NA can't strategize, NA bad at video game, NA have small PP, EU good at video game, have big PP. How does the EU have a united esports community? Y'all argued about shit so much. The only time you've agreed on anything was when we made NATO. Y'all argue about who has better cars, better food, who's better at ball foot kick. How are you gonna have intense rivalries about ball foot kick, but not this? What? Back to North America. So when I hear someone go, you know, it's for the region, NA go. That reminds me of when the New England Bill Belichick's and the Philadelphia Nick Foleses went at it for the Super Bowl a couple years back. I'm a DC fan. So when it was evident to me that the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Tom Brady's were going at it for the biggest televised event in the United States of America every year, we DC fans do not get along with Philly or Boston. So when you naturally go to the party and people are like, oh, hey man, who you got? Who you rooting for? That's a great question, you know? I'm actually going to root for the meteor from Deep Impact to destroy the stadium and Roger Goodell with it. Here's how a similar conversation could have went if we are applying the logic of the esports community to America's most beloved sport. How come you're not rooting for the Eagles? Aren't you a NFC East fan?
Man, what the is you talking about?
Was that?
And then you take the phrase NA GOAT and you translate that to English and it goes, Canada, United States, Mexico, GOAT. Do people from Mexico root for NA? No? Well, who do they root for then? Oh, Greg, well, you know, they probably root for Latin America. Yeah, Latin America's pretty big! That includes Brazil, which are there any teams from Latin America that aren't Brazilian? Why don't you just say Brazilian region instead of LATAM? That would make more sense. And how the fuck are people gonna be like, man, APAC sucks at Siege. APAC trash. APAC bad at video game. You mean to tell me that a nation of 24 million people, there's not 5 of them that are good at video game? And then someone from Oxford University is going to tell me, well, Gregor, it's not just Australia. It's Asia Pacific. So that includes Japan, China, and a number of other countries. Oh, that's cool, dude. That makes even less sense! How come the biggest nerds on the planet don't have 5 people that are good at video game? Esports is weird, but I personally am rooting for the DG boys to gun it back and get a spot in PL one day, and that's going to involve beating other teams from NA. So don't tell me to root for the region, because that doesn't make any sense. Can there be some parity here? It'd be nice. It'd be a lot more fun to watch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go talk shit about Bryce Harper for going to the Phillies on the internet, because DC, good at ball hit stick game.